Goal. Welcome back, guys. Off on tangents here. We are zooming again, once again, because the restrictions it's tightening again. So we're just to be safe. And to go above and beyond. We're going to do a Zoom conference today. A lot to talk about in regards to the NBA and in the world in general. My man Jake is in his comfy room. So am I.
Yeah. Just got out of my dressing gown for the day. I'll be putting it straight back on after this and staying it for the rest of the day for sure.
Yeah. Just had a bit of brekkie, I see.
Just wake up now, so.
Yeah. A bit to talk about in regards to the season restarting, and it's getting close. We were just discussing only 10 days before the season starts again, which is good. Good for some, not good for others. As you can appreciate, as the coronavirus has affected some of the players, or some players have been contracted with it. So, which is unfortunate. But we wanted to start off a bit about a little summary at the start. We're going to talk about Dame Lillard's comments in regards to players abiding by the rules in the NBA bubble. We got the NBA snitch hotline, which is an interesting topic to debate. The recent players that have been contracted with the coronavirus, we just want to talk. We'll be debating if teams will use that as an excuse because some certain players that aren't playing will definitely affect certain teams more than others. So we wanted to debate that, and we'll discuss the injuries today. So there's a lot to talk about in the NBA world, and so we'll start off with Dame Lillard's comments. The Portland Trail Blazers All-Star, who again will reiterate that he said that players aren't going to follow the rules in the NBA bubble, and they're going to, it
was basically a boys will be boys type.
Boys will be boys, yeah. Boys will be boys. Yeah. Really, what we're talking about, them bringing Instagram models and all that in. So Jake, what do you think? Given from when he made those comments until now, what have you?
I have to say, we touched upon this last week, and I have to say I'm very disappointed, to say the least. With I guess my take on the idea last week was that everyone in this situation would, for the greater good of knowing the seriousness of the situation, boys weren't going to be boys, and that being paid millions of dollars, surely these men could keep themselves under wrap for however many months they have to, 2 months or so, surely. And I'm pretty disappointed to find out already that there's already been stories coming out of people trying. I saw one this past week of someone allegedly trying to invite an Instagram model in. There's been multiple reports of breaches of the rules already. So it's already looking like Dame obviously had some merit to what he was saying. Whilst I think it's, he shouldn't have merit in that situation. It obviously boys are going to be boys, but it's really disappointing to say the least, because they're putting in jeopardy the season for everyone. And I'm sure it's only a select few players that are doing it. I'm sure most people are taking it seriously, but it's really disappointing that the actions of one person could ruin it for pretty much the entire world, because the entire world is, waiting on this to come back. So these few people who, they've been paid millions and millions of dollars to just sit there, follow your rules for a couple of months, do your job, and then you can do whatever you want outside of it. Go risk getting coronavirus outside of the bubble. I think there should be a much more serious stance by the NBA at this point that takes the stance of, if you willingly breach these rules and you come into the bubble and you breach and put the entire season at jeopardy, I think that should be a breach in contract, and they should be at risk of losing their jobs, depending on the severity of the. Obviously, it should be on a case by case basis. But I think going into this situation, I think you should know full well the seriousness of what is taking place. How much effort has gone into creating this bubble from everyone? The millions and millions of dollars spent on this bubble. All the hard work that's been put into place by the NBA Association to get this going, all the hard work from every player that wants to be there and is doing the right thing. It's just basically unfair that the actions of one person could cost everyone, and that person should be at risk of losing their job, I think, in that situation.
Yeah, well, look, great points you make, and I'll add on to what you're saying, because really I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree on the fact that, okay, it depends on where you are in the standings. Like, I feel like the teams that are really in it to win it, like the Lakers, like the Clippers, I feel like they're going to follow the rules much more than teams that out of the race. Like, they don't care. They don't give a shit.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that the Lakers or the Clippers or the Bucks or whatever, they may still break the rules. That's not to say that. It's just, I feel like it's just going to be much more stricter with those teams.
Yeah, you feel like they're less likely to break the rules with the stakes that they hold in the season.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, we sort of noted it last week when we mentioned Dame Lillard's comments, how we said it's easy sort of for him to say that and have that stance because the Portland Trailblazers are ninth, or they're not in the playoffs, and so I would be surprised if it's any of the teams that are in the top 5 in either conference. I'd be very surprised. Not to say that it wouldn't be, but yeah, you're right. I think it would be players that aren't in a situation of having much success, and they probably think, what's the point of me even being here, But that one player can ruin it for everyone. That's the shit thing about this world that we live in. One person's actions ruin it for the rest of the people who want to do the right thing.
Yeah. Well, that's an important segue into our next topic, which is the NBA's hotline. When players aren't going to follow the rules, like so the NBA brought about this snitch hotline for the purposes of, again, trying to follow the rules, ensure everybody is safe, and everyone can go home to their families and then not jeopardize the season. So the discussion, the hot take is, do you think this hotline will work? And does it actually encourage snitching?
Look, I think...
Do you call it snitching?
I think they should have a slogan for this. They should have a slogan that says, NBA Snitch Hotline, where snitches don't get stitches. Because I think every player should be calling that hotline upon finding out anyone else is breaching the rules. If I was in a position where I was in the bubble and following the rules, and one of my peers was blatantly ignoring them and risking the entire NBA, I would have no issue in snitching on that person. And that's why I think, good riddance, mate. If you're willingly breaking the rules, you should expect to be snitched upon as well. What else? What do you expect? You can't really hold salt upon someone who's pretty much calling you out on your actions. That's all that's happening. It's not a childhood situation of, I'm going to snitch on you to the teacher type thing. This is a situation involving millions and millions of dollars that are on the line. You're costing people money, and that's it's not a snitching. It's not a matter of snitching in this case. It's a matter of being caught doing the wrong thing. It's I just don't see it as snitching. But I think that should be their slogan for the hotline.
We have analysts like Stephen A. Smith, and he had a great line. He's like, snitch away. Do
it, please.
Man. Don't jeopardize the season. And
there should be a reward for snitching in this case. There should be social media should be praising snitches or something. We need to be actively rewarding those who call out others in this case, because I just think it is important. Like it's just ridiculous to think in this situation that you're doing anyone any help by not reporting people doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I think in this situation, if you don't snitch, you're directly responsible as well.
Yeah.
If it does end up ruining the season, if that player ends up causing it. So it's a responsibility. It's not just a matter of what's wrong, what's like wrong or right. It's a responsibility in this case.
Yeah, well, look, to contrast your opinions, like, I mean, we have players like Spencer Dinwiddie saying, look, don't use the NBA snitch hotline. And it's interesting to say because he's got that, you know, obviously that hood mentality, like don't snitch on your mates or your brothers, yeah, like it. And I get that, but the context, again, you got to provide context here. This isn't the hood. Richard Jefferson said, this isn't the hood, man. Like, we're not going to snitch on you to the police or anything. This is just, these are people's lives at risk. So to add to your point, I mean, yeah, I would snitch, but I would go one step further and say, look, even though I am snitching, I'm going to tell you to your face, hey, stop what the fuck you're doing.
Definitely, that's good.
Yeah,
you can say it to their face and not go behind the back, but you can say, look, I'm going to report your actions to the NBA because you're doing the wrong thing. And I think if anything, that reflects on that person who has the power to do that. That shows that they're a responsible person. It doesn't reflect on them being a snitch at all. Yeah. I think snitching is a very different situation, and I think it gets dragged into places like the workforce all the time. And it's, you know, it's unfair to treat people to do things in a workforce that you know are wrong and then expect your workforce not to you know, report you for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Same thing. If I do something wrong at my job and someone is uncomfortable with that, of course I'm going to be annoyed if they snitch me, but I can't blame them for it, can I? Because they're just doing the job. Yeah. And in this case, and I'm working for $20 an hour, not for $5 million contract, you know, like that's just the context, as you say, makes this not snitching. I don't think this is snitching. It's just being a responsible adult. The people that are breaking the rules are being irresponsible, and that's just it.
Correct. Yeah. Well, we'll move on, and our third topic of discussion is obviously the players the recent players that have contracted the virus, and it's unfortunate. And obviously, as you are aware, Russell Westbrook from the Houston Rockets contracted the virus, and it's quite unfortunate. So he won't be joining the bubble anytime soon. I think he has to self-isolate for 14 days. So, and going into that topic is someone of Russell's magnitude or his impact on the game. Do you think it's going to impact, or do you think the Houston Rockets, for example, are you going to use that as an excuse to if they don't win the championship? Because, you know, if you want to contrast this, Jake, if they do win the championship without Russell, then
there would be no excuses.
Yeah, there's going to be more credit to James Harden, and no
one's
like
it's a tough. I don't think it's a very relevant issue. So it is a tough thing because obviously Russell Westbrook is, as you said, probably the best player yet to contract the virus, or probably the player of the most impact on his team, I would say. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy, they would obviously have a large impact, but they got it so early that it didn't affect the season at all. So it's not even going to affect the team now. Obviously, it sucks for teams because it's on a random basis, and so it could affect any team. And I think in this case, we probably have to sort of look at this as like just like an injury type thing, where like on any given year, your best player could get injured at any point in time, right? They have just as much chance to get injured, and that excuse like is thrown around every time. It's like when Kawhi was injured against the Warriors, or like CP got injured against the Warriors in Game 6. You know, like at the end of the day, injury could affect. Russell Westbrook could have not gotten coronavirus and come to the bubble and gone injured for all we know. You know, like I just think when there's a situation that affects the entire league in the exact same way, I don't think that it's really provides any disadvantage to anyone in per se. It's just really, it just comes down to luck. It's just, and every year it comes down to luck, essentially, the championship. I would say the championship last year was one of the luckiest we've ever seen with the Raptors, you know, like for instance, to get to the finals, they got lucky against Philly. I'll say it again and again, but Philly would have pumped them if it weren't for Joel getting injured in the early series, you know. It was that series would have been wrapped up. But it just comes down to luck at the end of the day. Like a team has to get pretty lucky and have everything fall into place, or just be Golden State to win a championship. And at the end of the day, the team that wins this year will probably have to have a lot of things fall into place for them. And that's just going to work that way, you know?
Yeah. No, well, look, I'm of the view where to answer this question, like I do think they are going to use it as an excuse, given that it's already going to be with an asterisk anyway this season.
Is that what is everyone saying that they're going to look at this with an asterisk, or is that just like
I'm just assuming it is, given that it's going to be it's already a shortened season. So in the last few lockout seasons have had asterisks next to it. So
have they? Okay.
Yeah. So they've had So given this is going to be a shortened season, I'm assuming that this is going to have an asterisk next to it anyway. So on that basis, it just gives them further incentive to use it as an excuse. Sorry to say, but look, at the end of the day, you know, a team's not gonna. The team that wins it, they're gonna be like, no, it's still a valid championship. LeBron's not gonna go, no, I don't want this championship because because we had a shortened season and was affected by Corona. He wants that championship because, you know, he's on the verge of surpassing Michael Jordan, and obviously if he wins this championship, it may not be that he surpasses him. Maybe that he may need to win another one. I don't know. It's just that's up for debate. But like my point to you is, a team or player, they're not gonna say, nah, we didn't win it because of the loss. We're gonna take it. They're
gonna take it. But as you would, like, I think that's what your point is making is pretty much any team. The only teams that are going to have a problem with this championship are the ones that don't win, and that's the same as most years, right? It's like last year. There's always going to be an asterisk on this championship for the Raptors to Warrior fans, because the Warriors would always say that if it wasn't for KD and Clay getting injured, then the Warriors would have won that championship. It's the same thing, man. Like, to me, that doesn't matter, because every team that loses that championship is going to be like, well, it was because of coronavirus. Or anyone who had a high chance before coronavirus came in will be like, it was coronavirus's fault. But sure, anyone who wins it is going to be like, no, like everyone was affected the same. And that's what I think. I just think it's no different to any other year when injury can affect you just as much. It's just a chance that anyone in the league could get this virus at any point in time. And it's just a luck thing. Like, the asterisk thing, I just think we get too caught up in comparing championships and the value of championships between years and between players, just to be like, oh, this player's better than this player. But at the end of the day, I think we just have to realize that every championship each year is meaningful. Like, and it's won under the circumstances that it's allowed to be won under. And in this case, it's going to be won in a bubble because that's the circumstances that are being allowed for in this year, and everyone's under that circumstance. So the championship is going to be won by the best team in this circumstance, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's all that can be said.
Yeah. No, good takes on that topic. Let us know what you think about that. Like, do you think teams will use that as an excuse for not winning the championship? Let us know. We'll go to the last topic, which is about the injuries, latest injuries, or latest updates. Now, before we get to the main concern, there's been a few players that have just, I think, temporarily pulled out of the bubble to attend to family matters. We note that there's been reports from Zion Williamson that he's gone out of the bubble to attend to a personal family matter. Also, Montrezl Harrell, he's gone home to attend to a personal family matter as well. And we note that Gordon Hayward and Poirier from the Celtics they won't be in the bubble due to the birth. We know that there's going to be a time where they will give their wives or their spouses will give birth to their respective children. So, there's all these little issues. And it's understandable. You don't want to miss your child's birth. I think Drew Holiday is also leaving the bubble as well to attend to his child's birth. So again, so all that aside, the injuries. Rajon Rondo, the Lakers point guard, he won't be. Well, I'm not sure if he's out for the season, but as you understand,
he's got 6 to 8 weeks in recovery, at least, like around 6 to 8 weeks. So he could be back for the actual playoffs by the second round. I think around the second round, and Lakers are expected to make that anyway. So
so look, it's quite unfortunate. Obviously, Rondo's impact is he gives you that championship experience, given that he won one with the Celtics in his rookie year. And also he's a very good defender, very, very good defender, very small, but very good defender. And obviously his passing is and just court awareness. He's a very good floor general. I mean, not many people know this guy was leading in assists for a couple of years back in, I think it was 2014, 2015, around that. He was hell of a magician, but obviously he had a couple of sturdy years with like the Kings and the Pelicans.
Even with the Pelicans, man, when the playoffs came around, I remember watching them and being like, wow, the combination between Rondo and Davis that year was phenomenal.
Yeah,
they absolutely pumped Portland in the first round. Obviously, they got smashed by Warriors the next round, but I just remember thinking, wow, like the connection that those two had, and then to come to Lakers together and have that connection, and then not only that, but have Boogie as well. If Boogie was healthy, it was the three of those. That connection between the three of them was special.
That's scary.
The Twin Towers, man. I loved watching the Twin Towers play together.
Yeah.
Like Boogie and Anthony Davis, man. That was the days. I loved it. Yeah. So when they got split up, I was actually cut, man, because I was like, man, like I actually liked those two together. So I can see what you mean. Like whilst people would probably argue that he's not that big of a loss to the Lakers, he's definitely a big loss. Like he's a leader and he brings experience. So
exactly right. Like no, he's It just reminds me of all the times he was with the Celtics, and he was just an absolute machine, man. Like you could arguably say that the Boston Big Three of KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, but you can happily add Rondo to that mix and call it the Big Four, but Rondo was a kid back then, and so he was sort of like not part of that Big Three, I suppose. But nonetheless, that Celtics team was amazing from the very get-go. So hopefully Rajon Rondo is back on the court soon. Just a quick one. Has your predictions changed?
Yeah. So that, I guess,
for the bubble.
Oh, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's until we start the season and we know what the teams are going to be set in stone. Yeah. It seems like none of the teams are very like set in stone at the moment. I guess it's never going to be. That's going to be the issue that they face this year, and that's why it's going to be such a challenge. Is They're probably going to be players might have to be leaving intermittently to go see family, and because there are going to be issues popping up if people are getting sick outside the bubble, like, so throughout the season, people might have to just leave. Like a star's family member could get sick. He doesn't have to get sick per se, but he could just have to leave for that. So my feelings towards the season as they've been getting forward, I think like for a while it's sort of been feeling like everything's unraveling for the Lakers and everything's sort of coming together for the Clippers, which sort of sucks because I want the Lakers to win. So it does feel like just everything keeps going wrong for the Lakers. Like not only did Rajon get injured, but then we've got like Avery Bradley pulling out for his family, which is also understandable, but sucks for the team, where I just feel like it's just unraveling, and then we're only getting so much better towards the end of the season. Like they were adding in people, signing, Marcus Morris or Markieff Morris, and then they signed Markieff Morris, and then they signed what's his name, Jackson, the point guard, ornamental blank from the Pistons.
Jackson went to the Clippers. You mean?
The
Lakers.
Clippers. I'm talking about the Clippers right now.
Oh, sorry, Marcus Morris went to the Clippers and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Marcus Morris and then Reggie Jackson. That's right. So the Clippers, whilst the Lakers are losing their guys, the Clippers just seem to be increasing. And then you've got PG, who definitely
has lost 4 players. They've lost
the Clippers.
Yeah, lost 4 players. Landry Shamet's out. Montrezl.
Oh yeah. So Montrezl. Because I only heard about Montrezl now. So is Montrezl not coming back for the season?
I'm not too sure. I don't know how long that family member's going to take.
That would be the biggest. To me, that's that just completely changes things. And that now I would be like, Lakers have the upper hand because Montrezl Harrell, without the Clippers, without him will be. They lose half their depth, like one of their best bench players. So yeah, that's what I mean. For me, it's too hard to make a decision at the moment because no team seems to be set in stone. You were saying to me like potentially James Harden and Russ. Who knows if I don't think James Harden has got it, but like we don't know who's going to be playing at the start of the season, and then. When playoffs come around, it could be different again. So we're just going to have to wait and see, I guess.
Exactly.
But I guess it comes down to, it seems like every team is experiencing the effects of this. So it's not just the Lakers. It's not just the Clippers. It's not just anyone. And that's why I think it's going to come down to everyone's going to have to deal with this and win around it. If you want to win this championship, you're just going to have to make do with what you got. And maybe hope that the other teams are in a similar position. So be aware that everyone is going to be doing the best with what they can. And you've got I think if anything, it makes the whole league, it gets rid of it creates this sort of chance where like at the beginning of this year, it was sort of 3 teams that you thought were going to win: Clippers, Lakers, or Bucks, right? Now, I don't think that there's 3 teams that it's going to be between. And surely those 3 teams still have the best chance. But for all we know, they could lose their star players beforehand.
Yeah.
Giannis could get sick. LeBron could get sick. Anyone. And then it's anyone's game. So I think if anything, this is just going to mean every team should be taking this seriously because any team could benefit from this. And any team should be taking this as a sign that we need to take this serious because we could win a championship this year. Whether it has an asterisk or not.
Yeah. Well, to your point, I'll to answer the question, I'd say I'm still going with the Clippers to win it. I'm gonna throw it out there now. I'm gonna say the Raptors are gonna make the NBA Finals. Clippers and Raptors.
Nah, bro. If anything, I disagree with you hard on that. If anything, I would say Philly's chances have gotten better and better. With my faith in Philly is getting higher and higher as the season gets pushed further back. So I'll happily go against you on that. Raptors aren't going nowhere, bro.
Well, I saw a couple of IG videos of Ben Simmons shooting threes, and he said he's going to shoot more threes than Orlando.
Yeah, I saw that as well. So I guess we'll see, but man, stranger things have happened. See, he might be able to take advantage of the coronavirus situation and come out a 3-point shooter for all we know. So
Yeah.
it's going to be. Let's just look forward to it. We got 10 days or not 11 days, and then we're going to be seeing it again. So no more NBA 2K for me.
All right, everyone. That's it for our take. We hope you enjoy the episode. We'll upload this and obviously the audio on Spotify. Look, it's always good to get feedback from you guys and just let us know if you're listening in. Just engage in our discussion. We just want to promote basketball in Australia. Really, it's just to gather around, get a discussion going, and just promote it in Australia. So to keep the game growing here. But yeah, from us all, thanks again, guys. We appreciate it. And yeah, stay safe and enjoy your Sunday, I suppose.
Continue the isolation.
Yeah,
we're getting too carried away, guys. We gotta get back to taking it seriously now.
Yeah.
So keep safe out there.
Peace. See you guys. Thank you.
Peace, guys.
Bye.